goal to go. I'm just going to help you direct traffic. We're going to talk about, as Coach Max Howell would say it, Frank.
The schedule.
That's right.
The schedule.
I love that guy. He watches the show every day.
Max
Thank
is
you,
great.
Coach, more than you know. Frank, wow, man. Last night's schedule reveal came out on SEC Network. I'll let you take it from there. You just can't get any better than SEC football, though.
Well, it's like when the new phone books came in with Navin Johnson and the Jerk with Steve Martin's movie. The new phone books are in. Well, man, the new schedule is in, and I'm telling you, as one of the 16 dysfunctional, siblings in our rivalrous family, man, I cannot wait to play the villain next year. I cannot wait for this to get started. When I saw this, I was like, holy mackerel. And my buddy who does the tailgates, who I'm now going to be joining and doing the home tailgates with, the Lazy Tiger Tailgate Club, who was on the show when we broke the news about Lane Kiffin definitely going to LSU when we were at the his hunting camp. When he sent me a text, he goes, let's start looking at it now. We already started to work on when we're going to do our tailgates, where we're doing our away tailgate. So we're excited. But the three words that jumped off the page to me, Rob, because in this schedule, since we don't have an early August game, which we normally did, you can split up this schedule into 3 months. The three words that jumped off the table for me, the month of September, fireworks. Because, boys, our very first SEC game is going to be in Oxford, Mississippi.
Yeah.
Tell me for a second, the boys in the SEC scheduling room didn't have that already planned and ready to go. I don't care what all the other algorithms were. They were going to have us going to Oxford that very first game. So all my Ole Miss buddies, get your mustard containers ready. I prefer Titleist. If you're going to throw golf balls at me, make them Titleist. I don't want any Top Flight cheap shit. Yeah. So fireworks the very first month. The second month, the word came out manageable, because I think that is a manageable month. I think staring us at the end, though, is a trip to the loveliest village on the plain. So it ramps up quickly that very last week of October. But the month of November, I don't know who we ticked off, because we ticked off somebody, because the word that came to mind, gauntlet, because that is a gauntlet. We've got Alabama and Texas at home, back to back. You talk about an 8-day straight stretch. I'm going to eat all the gumbo in the world. My RV, Bengal One's going to be parked right there on campus. I'm not moving. I might even go to class. I might audit a few classes, because that's 8 to 9 days. I'm staying right put in Baton Rouge. But then we've got to go on the road to play Audrey's Tennessee squad in General Neyland Stadium. Yeah. I think we're going to take a couple of the boats up with the Vile Navy and make an amphibious landing with Admiral Lane at the switches, and then we got to go play Arkansas, because who knows what Silverfield, our good buddy Ryan Silverfield from Memphis, what he's going to have waiting for us in Arkansas. So it's just going to be an incredible schedule, both the home and away games. I told Ron, I said, the first thing I'm going to do after re-upping my SEC championship tickets, I'm re-upping my 2 LSU tickets, because it's going to be an incredible season of 9 SEC games next year. It's going to be unprecedented.
Well, first off, Audrey's cousin Marquee has that monster tailgate.
I'll be there.
300 people, where grits and grillade and boudin meet brisket.
There you go.
Meet brisket and bourbon. Right by the Torch Guy, right in front of Neyland Stadium. And you talk about a wild atmosphere. Damn.
And technically not bourbon, whiskey. Tennessee whiskey.
Tennessee whiskey.
The bourbon will be when I bring Bengal One up to Lexington, because we also play in Lexington, because the Tennessee and Kentucky, the battle for the whiskey barrel, the oak barrel.
Oak barrel. Yeah.
Bourbon in Kentucky. Tennessee sipping whiskey in Tennessee. Yeah. But I'm going to bring the RV up there for that. But yes, you're exactly right. And let me tell you, what's really incredible about the away games is every one of them is great eating. I'm looking
Yeah.
forward to coming and seeing you and Doug at Lake Martin for
Yep.
LSU coming up. We're gonna come back up. Doug's already invited me. We're gonna come back and cook like we did last time on the Friday.
Yep.
Have you guys come in? We're going up to Tennessee to get some good pork pig pulling up in Tennessee. Then we're going up to Kentucky. Again, we're going to, get some awesome bourbon out in Arkansas. We're going to go out to Fayetteville, which I love Fayetteville, especially late in the year. Our battle for the boot is back at the end of the year. Yep. So Texas A&M has now moved up, earlier in the year so that they can have their end of the year rivalry with Texas. It never made sense. LSU and Oklahoma, it was forced anyway. So we're happy to have our battle for the boot back. And I'm telling you, these away games are going to be fantastic. And then Ole Miss, I mean, can you imagine the setting going into Oxford on a beautiful September fall afternoon? Might even be crazy enough to put at night, but there's just something. LSU is made for night games at home.
Yeah.
Oxford is made for 2:30 games Central Time in Oxford. I think this thing is just going to be off the charts. Can you imagine the week leading up to that? I'm sure Roman's going to be there. I'm sure Nick's going to be there. I'm sure everybody's going to be there. And by the way, I've already bought my T-shirt. It's awesome. It's purple and gold. It says, "Nick told me to go."
Yeah. Well, hey, let me say something. Tanner Stein is watching. I love this kid. He's in our hunting club from DeRidder, Lake Charles. Stein's Home and Lumber. That's their family. The grandfather started that after World War II, which is hard work. The American dream. Yeah. And Tanner and Blake Kleinpeter. Now that's a real Cajun name, isn't it? Blake Kleinpeter. I mean,
but there's a ton of Kleinpeters in Baton Rouge. There's a ton.
Yeah.
Of them.
Well,
it's just like, family there.
It's just like I was asking when we bring Scott Rabelais from the Baton Rouge Advocate on here. Buddy of mine down there goes, dude, there's tons of Rabelais in the phone book.
Oh yeah. So, Jacques Doucet, our buddy Jacques Doucet.
Jacques, who speaks Cajun French, whose father was speaking Cajun French with Coach O on the levee Easter Sunday. How much more authentic can you get?
Shoot, they were looking to see who had the best prices in crawfish. That's crawfish season right there, man.
Frank, have you ever been on I-10 when you're coming across the great state of Louisiana? Best stop, groceries. Tanner will bring like a couple of 100 pounds of boudin up here.
Oh,
dude. That stuff, and then they make beef tongue with mock shoe gravy. Mm-hmm. That's an 8-hour ordeal. So you're eating at midnight and the heartburn about 3 a.m.
Absolutely, man. That's good stuff. I normally do my detour in Marksville. My good buddies in Marksville. Of course, we did our hunting trip, our duck hunting trip, where I bagged my very first duck at 50 yards going away. My buddy turned to me, he goes, "I don't even think you had your eyes open." I said, "I don't know if I did or not. I'll be honest with you." It was so incredible, but right past Whiskey Bay, going toward the Atchafalaya is where I'll turn off and I'll get some great boudin. I mean, it's all over the state. I got my good buddies in Lake Charles, Lacassane Lodge. Billy Rose, a good friend of mine. In fact, came out to when we brought Bengal One out to UCLA several years back. Came to Orlando. We actually went out to Vegas for the kickoff game for his 70th birthday 2 years ago. So, yeah, man, that's the beauty about being in a fraternity. As you know, Rob, being a Sigma Nu like you are, I'm a Kappa Sig at LSU. You have friends all over the state. Yep. My good buddy, William McDonald, Yam, up in Newellton.
Yeah.
And Chip Weimer, who actually is from here. He lives here in Atlanta. He's one of my buddies that go up to the Derby with me every year. He's got a camp right there on Lake Browne. And within 2 minutes, I had him calling me up and say, "Hey, you need to go to my camp." And then on the same thread, Yam goes, "Man, you're here?" He goes, "I'm about a mile away. I'll come on over and have a road soda with you, sitting out there watching the sun go down over the cypress swamp." So, yeah, it's awesome. But no, and that's the beauty of traveling around too with our tailgate stuff. Mm-hmm. I always love doing the away games. Of course, being in Atlanta, it's easier for me to do the away games than really going all the way back to Baton Rouge. So we had to pick the game, and I picked Kentucky out of security reasons, because if I bring Bengal One to Ole Miss, it might be up on blocks before the game is over. But we love going up. A lot of the LSU guys are a lot of horse people. As you know, Rob, I
Yep.
own racehorses. And Keeneland runs in Lexington that month in October. And so I checked the schedule once it came out last night. I checked Keeneland, and they are racing that Thursday and Friday. So we're going to go up, have some sipping bourbon, go watch the races for 2 days, and then have our tailgate. And you know where we have it? We have it at the old Red Barn racetrack, which is right next to campus.
Yeah.
Kentucky allows us to park. It's kind of like you guys at Auburn on the corner of Lem Morrison and Donahue. They allow you to park in those fields. So it's awesome. You're under these beautiful, trees. You got this great shade.
Yep.
It's Central Casting. So we're going to go up with the RV with the Lazy Tiger tailgates for the Kentucky game.
Look, you can't get better than that. And I want to ask you about the staff that Lane Kiffin's putting together at LSU, because there's a little bit of vacillation between coaches like Charlie Weiss Jr., Joe Judge, different ones, because Ole Miss is in the playoffs, and Kiffin gets a $1 million bonus if Ole Miss wins it all. But he's putting together a staff. Who did he keep that you thought he should keep? Who did he lose that you thought he should keep?
Weiss, and again, they've already signed the letter of intent. There's no shenanigans that's going to go on in Ole Miss, from my understanding. In fact, from what I understand, he got $10 million for 3 years, which is ballpark right at what Blake Baker got. So you have two of some of the highest priced coordinators in the game. You've got arguably now the highest priced head coach, or within spitting distance of Kirby, one way or the other. There's no excuses going forward, Rob. He's putting a staff around him. He retained Corey Raymond, which was a big deal to keep our D-backs coach. I'm hoping that he retains Frank Wilson as the running back coach. Yeah. There's an issue of whether the running back coach from Ole Miss is going to come or not. I think that's the only still sticking point. And honestly, the Lord might be looking out for us. Maybe if he doesn't come, it's a good thing, because Frank Wilson gets rewarded. He's a good soldier, good LSU soldier. He knows New Orleans backwards and forwards. He's Mr. New Orleans for recruiting, and we're always getting 4 or 5 kids out of New Orleans. It's critically important. And then he's keeping most of his offensive staff. So I am very, very excited about the staff that Lane has put around him. And, guys, think about it. Blake Baker's defense, we increased from 81 to in the top 15 in scoring defense in 2 years under Blake Baker.
Yeah.
You then allow Lane to stay and just coach offense and focus on offense and let all these great recruiters work recruiting. That's the one thing LSU didn't have the last 4 years. Rob, as you always eloquently put it, we got more talent than, Getty had dimes in his pockets. We got talent. We just didn't have it on both sides of the ball at the same time, and we didn't have the right coaching on both sides. Matt House was a horrible defensive coordinator when we had a great offense, a Heisman Trophy winning quarterback. And then our offensive coordinator, Joe Sloan, was horrible this year when we had a really good defense, which again, wasted what could have been and could be still a pro style quarterback. Nuss probably play on Sundays once he gets healed up. So, that's critical. And having both of these staffs and people wanting to come and do this, it's huge.
All right. Brendan's kind of a tight schedule this morning, so we'll try to wrap up around 20 minutes or so.
Sure.
Let me ask you real quick. The quarterback situation at LSU.
Yep.
Kiffin, look, that's one thing you don't worry about, but you're going to talk about. Let's get into that.
Well, Van Buren is the only one we're going to have on staff after Nuss. Yeah, Nuss is not playing in the bowl game. He's opting out. Again, I really don't think the kid's been healthy at all year, just from the way it looked. Just short and everything, overthrowing people. In fact, I think once this whole thing is done, the postmortem is done on this thing, and he's going to come out and how really hurt this kid was. And frankly, if he was hurt, I got a problem with Brian Kelly playing him against Louisiana Tech and Southeast Louisiana. That's a story for another day. Mm-hmm. But I think for the quarterback situation, I have a very sneaky feeling they're going to petition the NCAA for Trinidad Chambliss to come to LSU. I have no inside information on this. And he went through senior day at Ole Miss, when they had their last game right before going to Stark Vegas for the Egg Bowl.
Yeah.
And yes, he's a senior, but don't forget, Division II guys, when they petition for an extra year, it is almost always given.
Yeah.
So if Lane and Chambliss decide if that's what's best for him, and right now with the NIL, hell, he'll make more than his rookie year sitting there holding a clipboard.
Yeah.
Come back with our talent in Tiger Stadium with Lane and the quarterback and see what they can finish as opposed to Lane leaving and coming to LSU before the playoffs this year. I think it might be very attractive to Chambliss to then come. You also have the possibility of Simmons coming. We also have talk that there's a couple of quarterbacks in the portal. I don't want to jinx us by saying who, but Sun Devils, you know who you are out there in Arizona State. Supposedly there's great interest. There was another a quarterback that I just heard of. They didn't say who it is, but look, if you're a quarterback and you've got 2 or more years left in college, and you're seeing what Lane's going to be able to coach with our offensive talent, the skill positions, and hopefully with our offensive line getting a better coach and getting another year. I mean, they were all young. I think it'd be hard to turn down, Rob.
All right. Tanner Stein just texted me, and he's been commenting some. Bryce Underwood comes home with all the Michigan problems, and no one's even talking about that. You probably know.
Well, Kevin Falk, a great LSU fan, and by the way, my heart goes out to Kevin. He lost a second daughter this week. Second daughter, 30-year-old daughter, three children she has. It's just horrible. He lost a daughter about 3 years ago. I was talking to Kevin when we were out on the field when I went down with Lance Smith before the I think it was the South Carolina game. Lance took me into the L Club, and we went out on the field before the game. And I was asking, I mentioned it to Kevin about Bryce Underwood, and maybe down the line he comes. Well, then Tyrann Mathieu this week, I don't know if you saw this, but he actually texted Bryce Underwood to say, hey, would you be interested in coming? We've got a great spot for you. And immediately Dave Portnoy, who is the guy, him and Larry Ellison, who stole him from us when he was, signed, a letter, recruit for LSU for a year and a half, steal him with a week to go. They said, no, he's not going. Well, Tyrann Mathieu, when he talks, because of his success in the league for as long as he did, might have been as long as Patrick Peterson, but an illustrious career. These kids listen to that. Yeah. I didn't want to bring him up only because I think it's going to be a very big long shot because he's already got I think it's a $12 million NIL. And honestly, I don't know if he's worth the $12 million, Rob. I'd rather maybe spend the money other places. Because don't forget, when he left and didn't come to LSU, it gave us money to get Blake Baker his defense. Yep. Which made that big run up. I mean, our secondary is as good as LSU going back to the Nick Saban years when we had Corey Webster and that group, and even the Mo Claiborne and Eric Reed years of 2003 and 2011. Yeah. This group was as good.
All right, so got a couple of minutes here.
Yeah,
you're welcome. Kelly Leak's got a place for you in Auburn to come tailgate Bingo 1.
Awesome.
But won't be making it this year because we'll be at Lake Martin. But yeah. Things change. There you go. Now,
if Doug gets mad at me and I don't have a place to stay at the lake, then I'm bringing our Bengal 1.
And we're cooking. All right. So as far as Kiffin and the high school recruiting, he doesn't, as Yancey Porter said, he doesn't want $25 million worth of NIL on the bench. He likes guys that can help immediately. What kind of money are they putting together? The next time I have some Raising Cane chicken tenders, I'll have to go,
Hey, I ate there when the last time I was in town, and I brought some to my daughter. I said, we got to help my boy Ty Graves.
There you go.
Because he deep pocket. But look, $22 billion, I think he's fine. He owns every damn outlet they got. No, but you saw that in our recruiting this past week. We only got 14 players, but the average rating of those players was the best in the country.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. So we not only got the best average per player rating wise, but now we've got 11 more slots that we can fill with NIL, not counting who might have attrition or know the handwriting well. We've already lost 4 guys that I don't think might would have played other than Juwan Johnson. He definitely, that was a loss. But I think the other 3 that said they were going, that just frees up more room. And look, when you got a $25 to $30 million, I've heard both numbers, dollar war chest, you can buy a lot of players nowadays.
Yeah, look, unfortunately, we run out of time, schedule constraints today. But Frank, that is awesome stuff. And this Goal to Go podcast is solid purple and gold. I'm not
How
saying
many, how many hits? How many hits did we get last week, Ron?
479,000.
Woo! Hi.
All right, Frank, I'm going to talk to you here after the show. That was great stuff. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Podcasts are like flowers. You water them in the morning, and they just grow throughout the day. So, everybody, thanks for watching. Have a great weekend, and I'll be on here shortly on the Panhandle Show with Buddy Martin. It'll be fun.
Go Tigers.
Go Tigers.